Hi, we are talking to amazing people in construction and education about recruitment, training, and retention. Welcome to the Builders Table. I'm your host, Jennifer Wilkerson.
We're doing another great podcast from Skills USA. We're in Atlanta at their national championships along with their leadership conference, and we are talking to Kiewit, specifically Ron Duce. So thanks for being here, Ron.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here today.
That's great. So how many times have you been to Skills?
This is my first time to Skills National.
And so what do you think so far?
It's pretty, I don't know what all the words for it. Amazing, outstanding, energetic. There's a lot going on here. It's really cool.
Was it what you expected?
It's more than I expected. There you go. Because I've been to a state level competition, but I've never been to the nationals, and this is like several steps above what a state level competition is.
It is. It's over the top. I always tell people, until you come, and like I can tell you about it all day long, but until you come to it, you have no idea.
You have a hard time really visualizing what it means when you got 70 competitors in like the electrical competition, what that really means and what these guys are doing. So it's really cool.
Well, I'm glad you guys are here. I know Kiewit's
glad to have us.
Big contributor, big sponsor. So tell us about yourself first. How did you get into the construction industry?
So it depends how long a story you want.
But it might have to be a little short.
But I got on just basically because I was going to school at Oregon State, getting an engineering degree, and I had to decide which type of engineering degree. You do a pre-engineering program, then you apply for what they call professional school, which is your last 2 years of focus. And I literally looked at what was the job placement rates and what were the wages. And the number 2 highest wages was construction engineering. So I decided to go get a construction engineering management degree, and then I was working for a general contractor when I graduated. That's how I got in the construction industry.
So pre-college, construction was not part of the plan?
Pre-college, I grew up on a farm in rural Oregon, and then I did 2 years in the Army in order to get money to go to college. Came back to college, I just knew I was going to go get an engineering degree. I didn't know which type. So that's how I got into it, really about the opportunities available and then the money that it paid.
And, you know, people talk about that all the time. Like, there's plenty of opportunity. There's plenty of money to be made. We need to make sure that more people know it and that parents hear what we're saying, because I feel like they don't always know.
Oh, it's true. Yeah, when I went through the placement rate, because they posted the placement rate for the college grads in all the different disciplines, and then they posted the average salary. And construction was number 2, right behind electrical engineers. So electrical engineers were number 1. Construction engineering was number 2. Crazy, right?
It is crazy, but we're glad you're here.
Glad to be here.
So you get started in it, and first job out of college?
First job out of college, I worked for a commercial building contractor in Northern California. The contractor I worked for had a contract to build Target stores throughout Northern California, and so that's what I kind of worked as a project engineer, estimator, building Target stores across Northern California. It was all subcontracted work. Right, we didn't have any direct employees. We were a pure construction manager is what that company was. That was the first company I worked for. It was cool. I loved what I was doing. Every day was different. And you know how construction is, right? Every day's got new challenges, but
Which is cool. That's one of the perks of it, right? Like if you're somebody that doesn't want to do the same thing over, you don't want to make widgets like all day, every day.
Exactly. That's right. I used to do a lot of recruiting for our college degreed engineers that we hire. And one of the interview questions I used to ask people is like, okay, I'm trying to figure out your personality type. So you probably make a to-do list at the end of every day to get ready for tomorrow. Yep, we do that. Okay, how would you feel if first thing in the morning when you get to work, you're sitting down having your cup of coffee, your superintendent walks in, grabs that piece of paper, rips it to shreds and says, none of that's important, I need you to do this. How does that make you feel?
It's a good question.
It was a great question because if they said, hey, that's the way things are, we're in construction, things changes, I knew they'd make it. If they freaked out, I said, you might want to go into design engineering and not on the construction side.
But it's true.
It's totally true.
I mean, and I think here's the other thing that you're pointing out. Construction has all kinds of opportunities.
Yep.
If you don't want to be in the field, you don't have to be in the field. If you want to be in the office, you can be in the office.
Yep. You can do all that.
You can do everything.
Yep.
So your journey to Kiewit, how long have you been with Kiewit? Sure. How did you get there?
So I've been with Kiewit about 28 years.
Woo.
And getting into Kiewit was
Same age that I am right now.
Isn't that crazy?
Just incredible.
Well, I started right straight out of high school. So actually I got there through my wife is how I got there because So I was working in Northern California. We had our first child and realized, hey, we need to be closer to family. So we moved from Northern California to Omaha, Nebraska, worked for a different contractor in Omaha for a year and realized I wasn't in the right place. Sent my application to Kiewit, made a phone call, did an interview. I was working there 2 weeks later.
Sounds like it's not very hard to keep working in the construction industry.
Oh, no, there's plenty of opportunities available, right? If it wasn't a good fit, go find what is a good fit for you.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I started with Kiewit in Omaha, Nebraska back in '96.
And what was the position then?
I was a field engineer.
Okay, so what does that mean? Like, what were you doing?
So a field engineer, so I was with Kiewit's vertical building group, right? Because Kiewit's a big building contractor as well as the infrastructure and all the other stuff we do. So in that role, right, you're kind of in the office, getting the superintendents all the tools, materials, equipment, getting the subcontractors lined out, doing all that, so they have everything they need to go build the project.
Well, that's cool, though.
It is really cool project.
So,
yeah.
But now you're over field, I don't even know, HR, operations, I don't know, it keeps changing.
Yeah.
So what's your role now in Kiewit?
So now my role with Kiewit is, so I'm an HR director now, so I came out of operations right onto the HR side, but I'm responsible for all craft recruiting, craft training, and then workforce development to pipeline more craft employees to the organization.
So you're a busy man.
Now. Yeah, and it's good. I did 20 years on the operations side, right? Being a superintendent and a project manager, being on the projects. So I always bring that experience to what I'm doing today.
Yeah, so. And I love that because I think the more you do in the different areas, it makes you ultimately better at wherever you end up.
And that's the fun thing about working for Kiewit, right? If we got great employees that are willing to take an opportunity, try a new challenge, do something different, there you go. I've been here 28 years, done many different roles, and they're always finding new and exciting opportunities.
That's cool.
I have fun every day when I come to work.
That's what I want to hear. You have fun every day.
I tell people, if you're not having fun when you come to work, you need to go find a different job.
Absolutely.
Because life's way too short to not enjoy what you're doing.
Cool. That's great that construction's fun.
Oh, it is. It is a lot of fun.
So, obviously, you like working for Kiewit. Tell us a little bit about Kiewit. Although you guys have been around a long time and you're very big, there may be people that are not familiar.
You're totally true because we don't do a lot of marketing, brand advertising stuff. Right? There you go. So the company's been around since 1884.
Ooh.
Started in Omaha, Nebraska as a masonry contractor and has grown through the years. So now we're like, in the top 5 ENR list of engineering and construction firms.
Okay.
And so we have offices throughout the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. And we work in 8 different markets, right? Okay. The building market, the infrastructure market, the water treatment, oil and gas, power, transmission. Anyways, so anything that can be built except for a house, we build it. And plus, we do a lot of our own engineering in-house. We have our own engineering group, so we design and build the projects we build.
Beautiful. That's incredible. So, how many states do you have projects going on right now?
Probably say in the 30s.
Wow.
Oh yeah, we're coast to coast, and then like I said, Mexico into Canada. So we're in all the provinces in Canada. We have work going on right now, and pretty much most states in the U.S.
So being over the craft and knowing that you have all those projects going on, how many craft professionals do you employ?
So we're currently running, they're going off memory, we're looking at the reports. I think we have currently about 14,000 craft employees working for us right now. And that's kind of split between union and non-union.
Right.
And it's really 50-50 split, about half are union, half are non-union.
Yeah. No, but that's cool. I mean, to think that there's that many craft professionals working for Kiewit. I mean, we talk about the needs, so I'm sure that you guys are constantly trying to feed the beast here.
We also partner with industry groups, right? The community colleges, the trade schools, right? Different organizations to help feed employees to us all the time. And that's where a lot of effort is today, to build those pipelines to start getting more newer people into the organization.
Absolutely, yeah. So I love the fact that we're talking about partnerships with community colleges, with schools. How important is that as an industry for us to make sure we have relationships with our schools?
Yeah, I think it's very important. I think it's a great opportunity for all of us employers. Because I think there's a lot of people that are going to a technical school or going to high school that's focused on technical things, and they just don't know how to get to work for us.
Right. No,
because
they
don't know.
They don't.
Because a lot of it is, right, they'll fill out an application, right, but then we'll have a job posting up for pipe fitters, and there may be 100 people that apply to that position. And we're going through, right, picking the people with experience who've done it before, not necessarily looking at the person who just graduated out of Baton Rouge Community College, right? So we got to build these pipelines of relationships so those schools can let us know when they have people graduating, and we can kind of plan for it and plan for them to enter our workforce.
Yeah, and I think that's what we need to tell both sides, right? Education and industry, because no one side can do this themselves.
It's going to take all of us to do it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what I hear a lot of times from contractors is they don't even know who they would talk to at a college, like what they're supposed to do.
Right. So you kind of exposed me to this last year, right? At the National Community College Conference we went to, right? You had Ray and I speak on a panel about that, and really the light bulb went off. That, hey, there's all these schools out there training these folks who want to get into the business that we don't have relationships with for craft employees. Now, staff employees that are getting an engineering degree, that's different, right? Because we've been recruiting for them for a while.
Right.
But we almost need to go to that effort for our craft employees, start pipelining them to the organization. But anyways, yeah, you started that whole thing. It was almost a year ago. It was like May of last year that we started doing it. And so now we're identifying what schools make the best idea to be a partner, working with you guys a lot, because we love your curriculum and we love the NCCER training and guides going on. So we start at those schools that are training your stuff, because you guys use the same stuff we use to train our people.
Absolutely.
And those are the schools we're partnering with.
I'm so excited that you guys are doing. I mean, I think Kiewit taking the lead in something like that, and you all to be able to show like this works.
This is working.
This works because it does take a little bit to get yourself set up and to do that. And I think people sometimes are just like, I don't have the time. I can't do this.
And it's not going to happen overnight.
No.
Right? If you go to community college and you meet the director of workforce placement or something like that, you're going to be the same as every other employer that comes in there, meets with them, drops some cards. Hey, tell your students to look at our website when they're looking for a job, and then it just dies up, right? You really got to get in there, build a relationship, get the relationship with the instructors. So the instructors talk about your organization, and they give us a call and say, hey, I got this class graduating. I got these 3 people you guys should really reach out to and give an opportunity. Yeah. That's where we're headed to get to that point.
And that's great. That's really a relationship. It's not about dropping off the cards.
Yes.
Because I think
you got to be engaged. You got to be in the classrooms. You got to be talking about the great opportunities there are in this business. I mean, there are a lot of our executives and management started as a carpenter or started as an electrician on their tools, worked through the organization, become a foreman, superintendent, construction manager. There's plenty of room to grow in the organization.
And that's what I love too is, and I keep harping on this, there are career pathways.
These are
in
careers.
Construction. Exactly.
These aren't just a job, they can be a career. Now, if you want it to be a job, it can be a job.
Right.
But if you want it to be a career, the opportunities are there to make it a career.
And so what do you guys do at Kiewit to help train your people up? So they come in, maybe they've gone through community college, maybe they haven't. What kind of programs do you have that help them get their goals of wherever they want to go with their career?
So a lot of our training happens just by on-the-job training, doing your job every day. And your foreman's training you how to do the job, and that. But we also have an advanced journeyman development program. We call it. It's kind of like an apprenticeship program. Continuous basis, right? We meet with our construction managers and our superintendents and get them to identify our employees that have the potential, the attitude, and good performance. That's always it, performance, potential, and attitude.
I like that.
And then we enroll them in our apprenticeship program. And then it's 3 weeks of school every year. We pay them while they're in school because we do it during work hours.
Yeah, say that again.
We pay them while they're in school.
Because
it's doing work hours, right? So all the apprentices have 4 levels of apprenticeship, right? So years 1 and 2, we actually built a mobile training facility, like a Connex box. We outfitted it with everything we need to train the different disciplines, whether it's a pipe fitter or a millwright or an electrician, and we take it to the job sites. So now we got these employees that have only been with us for a year or less, or maybe a couple years. We're given the opportunity to stay at home, go to class every day, get trained during the day, right during the normal work hour, on the job site where they're working. They go through the training, and then they sleep in their own bed at night. They don't have to travel and be away from their families. And we go out to job sites, and we do that for year 1 and then year 2. Then when they get to year 3, then we bring them to our training center in Aurora, Colorado. I tell you, it's a state-of-the-art training center. It's the envy of a lot of other contractors because we really did a good job building it out.
I've heard about it. I haven't been there, so I need to come and see it.
You need to come see it because I mean, that's where you guys came and did all the filming of Fernando for the Pipe Fitter series, right?
Amazing, amazing instructor.
I mean, so we kind of let our instructors design what they needed for lab space.
Makes sense.
Yeah, the instructors laid out each one of the areas where they do the training. Anyways, we bring them back to Aurora for 3 weeks, put them up in a hotel. They're there for 3 weeks getting their final training. And the goal of the program is after 4 years, if you're an electrician, we want you to get the NCCER certified electrician. But more importantly, we want you to get your electrical license.
Yeah.
Because it's very important to us as a company, because we work in a lot of states that require an electrical license. And for that employee, now they've got lifelong training that they can utilize, across, depending on whoever they want to work for. And we find that those folks, they stay with us, right? Because they know we've invested about them, we care about them, we got them to where they are. And actually, a lot of those folks, by the time they finish their apprenticeship, about half the class are foremen by the time they get to that.
Wow, that's incredible.
Well, they just got... They're driven a little bit more. They're more organized, right? All the things that made us select them to be an apprentice have proved out. So now they're, right? I mean, they're journeymen, a lot of them.
Absolutely.
I mean, foremen by the time they get to that level. Yeah.
Well, and what I love, too, that you're saying is that you set up a program for the first few years so they're not having to go away from their family to start out. And then, towards the end, they do get to come to this, as you said, state-of-the-art training center. And I would imagine it also builds really good relationships with those people that get to come and spend those 3 weeks there.
So those classes, because it's the same group of guys going through, guys and gals, they go the same group of people coming through the classes. They've been together, some of them for 4 years.
Wow.
So they're a tight-knit group. And then same with our instructors. Our instructors are invested in the success of each one of these people. So when they're out on a project having a tough day or tough assignment, their instructors are kind of like their mentors, right? Helping them get through the program and get through their career.
I love that.
So we just graduated a group of 15 electricians a couple weeks ago. They go out of our program, and most of them, almost all of them, already had their electrical license or they were testing for their license that week of their final instruction. So it's a pretty successful program. It's going really well.
And really great because, as you said, they're getting paid. They're doing all this different stuff. They're building relationships. They're heading towards being a foreman. They've got a career path set for them. I mean, I feel like you're like, check, check, check. We got all the boxes.
We got to grow our workforce, right? And this is the only way to do it is by investing in them and growing them. Right?
Absolutely.
Yep.
I love what you said, too, because there's, some contractors, if it's a smaller contractor, they're like, well, why would I train them? Because if I train them and they leave, then...
What if you don't train them and they stay?
Exactly.
Right?
It's so crazy that people don't think of that. And I think you're right, too, about retention.
Yep,
your retention rate's probably very good with these people that go through these. They stay with you.
Yeah, typically stay with us because the people that are in our apprenticeship program, as the project winds down that they're on, they go to the top of the list of us finding another opportunity for it. So we reach out to them and say, hey, we've got these opportunities for projects you can go to. Which one are you interested in, and then which one works for you? And we get them lined out on another project.
That's very cool.
There you go, because construction, there you go, you've been around a while. So every day you're on a construction project is one day closer to the job being done.
Yes.
So we're always working ourselves out of a job. So
absolutely.
It's real important for us to keep the people that are in our apprenticeship programs employed and working for us.
Yeah. I think that probably gives them such a sense of comfort, too.
It does.
Because because typically you're on a project, you've got an 18-month project coming up to the end, you're already trying to look for another job because your company's typically not looking for you, but you guys are doing that.
Yeah, we see that a lot, right? A lot of time, the craft that have got hired on with this, there you go, you get to peak, you start coming down from peak, and a lot of guys are looking for a new job before the ramp drops down because they don't want to get laid off, they want to get ahead of it. So we work hard to communicate with all of our craft employees that, hey, I know we're at peak, we're starting to come down, we've got all these opportunities coming up before you just decide to leave us and go find another job.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about all the opportunities we have. And on the projects where we do that, very successful, right? Because they want to stay with us, they want to go to the next project, and we can find a home for them and put them to work somewhere else.
I love that. I love that. I just like the idea because I feel like you guys are, Kiewit's really trying to help the whole person and their families.
Yep.
And trying to give them that confidence. So I love it. What other things do you guys do for your craft professionals? Because it sounds like just that by itself and the training are great.
So there's there's other trainings we do, right? So we have another program, it's called a Key Craft program. Those are your craft employees that are like a foreman level, grown up to a foreman level. Same thing, they got a lot of performance potential and the right attitude. Then we'll run them through another training program. It's called a Key Craft program. We kind of developed it ourselves, but it's to help take those craft employees from being really good at working on their tools to being a better foreman, a better manager, doing more planning and organization. And we run them through our Key Craft programs, and the ones that really do well, those are the ones that get promoted to a salary foreman or a superintendent. Because we grow a lot of our own superintendents, a big part of our workforce. And they come from the trades.
Yeah, and I love that you're developing from within.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're hiring all from outside. It's like those Kiewit people are your people, and you're helping them get up.
Exactly. The people that do that, and we have a lot of construction managers, project managers, area managers, there go different levels of the organization that started out as a trade employee, carpenter or an electrician, different trades, and worked their way up through the system, the company, right?
Yeah.
A lot of opportunities. We like to keep our people. We do. I mean, I've stuck around 28 years, right? It's a great place to work.
And you guys have a lot of work, so you need to keep your people with everything that's going on.
We have a lot of work right now. I mean, all of us contractors have a lot of work right now. I mean, the industry's really busy. COVID shut down things for a few years, and now the whole world's catching up to that.
Right. It is.
They go plus all the investments the government's making in our infrastructure, in our energy markets, and the renewable markets. All of that investment is keeping us all really busy.
No, I totally agree. And the thing I think of now with such a tight talent market is how, as an industry, do we get people to choose? How do we become that industry of choice? Like, what do we have to do?
Well, we got to do the opposite of what we did 30 years ago, a little more than 30 years ago. Right there you go. So when I was in high school, right, the big push then is you got to go to college, you got to go to college, you got to go to college, and it's just not true.
Right.
You don't have to do that. So as an industry, we got to change that perspective. And it's going to take everybody's efforts, right? The skills competition and this whole skills organization is a great avenue for it, right? They're bringing all these trades back into the schools.
Yes.
They're promoting it, and we have to get partners like us participating in these so we can tell people, hey, where are the careers at? Where are they coming from? And
absolutely.
There you go. We all got to do a better story of that.
Yeah. Do you think that we keep hearing that Gen Z now is the tool belt generation? They even put in the Wall Street Journal that these young people are starting to see this. Are we ready as an industry? Are we ready to take young people that may not have the experience that we typically want?
I tell you what, there you go. It's like you've been fed that question. So, there you go. So, part of my responsibility is the craft recruiting team, right? There you go. Superintendent will put in a requisition for craft, right? There you go. How many employees do I need? I want this level position. And a lot of them want journeymen. Hey, I want a whole bunch of journeymen on my crew. And then a couple helpers and craftsmen, which are the less than journeyman positions. Mm-hmm. And we, even us as a company, are working really hard to say, hey, superintendent, you're on the front line of developing our next workforce. I know you'd love to have all journeymen, but listen, you've got to build journeymen, so you guys start taking some of these entry-level 2 or 3 year experienced people into your crew mix and start training them and to develop them to be what you are today. So that's a big push we're making. It's challenging.
It is challenging.
Because they're used to working, getting all the craft they needed, and that's just not the case anymore. We have to start growing our own.
No, I totally agree with that, and being open-minded, because it is
it's
like they're very used to just, there's plenty of people, I'll just get them.
Who would you rather have on your team? Someone fresh out of school who's never done it before, or someone that's been doing it for 10 years?
No, I understand. I mean, I totally agree. But I do think what you're saying makes complete sense. Like, we have to, it's going to take a while.
It's going to take a while.
This is something that's not going to happen overnight.
And so right now we're kind of working on it project team by project team by project team, right? Starting to change that culture. And then as we start developing, these relationships with different industry groups, like SLTC is, Ready is an industry group that trains people to be linemen.
Okay.
So we hired a bunch of guys coming out of their class in April, landed them on one of our projects to see how they did. The word is spread about those guys and their abilities and their capacity.
Cool.
And now the project is saying, yeah, we need more of those guys.
Okay.
So that's kind of the plan. Do it with that school, do it with a couple community colleges, do it with the diesel equipment mechanic schools to try to get some of those tougher trades to come working for us.
Absolutely. No, that's beautiful. I love that.
It is.
I love
It's a lot of fun, too, because you're helping these guys start their careers, right? You're giving them an opportunity. I say guys, general term. You're helping everyone start their careers in an industry that can be very rewarding. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think you hit on something there. You know, our industry right now really is trying to understand and get their head around diversity in the industry, right? Like we need more women. 51% of the population are women, so
but not in the construction industry,
they're
right?
They're not. And so is Kiewit actively doing some things to attract women to come in?
We got a couple programs going on. There's a whole, it's called Women in Kiewit Initiative across the organization. We're trying to bring more women in the organization. And then as we do, have support and mentors and address any challenges or issues they may have working for us. And clearing those out, they're making it better across the organization so they stay with us, right?
Right.
It's one thing getting them in the door, but we got to keep them working for us too. We need all the workers we can get.
Absolutely.
All the workers. There you go. We need to get them from all the sources.
Yeah, and I think one of the things, I try to always say to women, especially when it's a single mom, like the construction industry can pay you a hell of a lot more than what you're getting paid in the service industry.
Yep.
Trying to, keep your family, you're working at night, you're doing all these crazy things, and crazy hours can happen, but the construction industry pays well.
Pays really well.
And then trains them.
Yep.
These women need to hear what you're saying. You guys invest in your people, you pay for them to go through these programs, you give them career pathways that they can follow.
Yeah, exactly. Right. There's plenty of opportunity there.
Yeah. Absolutely. So Skills USA, what are you hoping to walk away this week with? Do you have any thoughts about that?
So this is my first time at Skills, and I know we've had some members of our team come into Skills for a number of years, but I think this is the first time we've set up our own booth. We did a sponsorship breakfast this time. So our goal is to really connect with the advisors in all these schools and let them know who we are and what the opportunities are, get more visibility, because they're at the front lines talking to the students, right?
Yes.
There's no way we can go to every high school in the United States and talk about construction opportunities. So let's focus on the schools that teach this stuff, teach the trades, and let their advisors know what the opportunities are, and then let them take the message to the students, kind of open up the door to come working for us.
I love what you're saying, Ron. The reason that's so important is we literally have had teachers tell us when we say, what are your kids going to do when they get done with this carpentry class or when they get through with this electrical class? They're like, well, I don't know. I don't know anybody in the industry, so I don't know where to tell them to go.
Yeah, that's a huge barrier. It's a huge barrier getting in the industry because a lot of the people we hire are referrals. Right. Somebody knows somebody, and they say, hey, let's give this guy a job or an opportunity. So if you don't know somebody, it's hard to get that first job.
Yeah.
So it goes back to the relationships with an instructor calling us and saying, I've got this great candidate, you need to give them a shot. Right?
Absolutely. I love that goal being here because people, although, you get to meet young people and maybe a few years they're going to remember you or whatever part they're in. But I do think that's a great way to go after it. Make the relationships with the advisors. They're going to remember Kiewit. Yep. They're going to know that. They're going to start telling, and it just kind of multiplies the efforts of Kiewit trying to get
and this is year one we've really been doing this. So, my vision for 5 years from now, it's Kiewit's a household name among Skills. Skills knows there's great careers. You go work for the Kiewit company, all kinds of different things.
Yeah.
And that's the goal, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly.
Want your name out there, you want people to come to you.
Well, it doesn't have to be in the trades working on your tools, right? There's a lot of people here at Skills that'll still go off and get an engineering degree or an accounting degree or something like that. We hire all those people too. We're a big organization, 25,000 employees.
Take your choice. What do you want to do?
What do you want to do? There's a lot of different things you can do.
Yeah, no, I think that's great. So if people want to find out more about Kiewit, where do they go? What do they do?
You go to kiewitjobs.com. It's just a website out there, and it's got all of our job postings up there and everything you need to know about the company. Okay. Or you can just go to www.kiewit.com, Kiewit. There you go. That's our homepage. Now you can see all the work we do.
Yeah, no, I think that's
we're
great.
in all the markets. I mean,
we're in all the markets.
Well, we
Except
are.
for houses. We're in all the
Except
markets.
for houses. When the good thing about that is, right, say infrastructure spending goes down, right? Federal government spends money on infrastructure. Say that funding goes down and there's less work. We can take those employees and go put them on a power job or go put them on a rail job or something else, because construction is construction, right?
Yeah.
There you go. You need electricians and pipe fitters and welders and iron workers on every type of project, and the skills are transferable.
Yeah, and that's really important what you just said there. The skills are transferable. You don't have to stick in one trade, too. If you learned a particular craft, you can transfer that and be able to do other things.
There you go. Good tee up to another story. So we did a big solar project, and solar jobs aren't hugely complicated, right? You get a whole bunch of solar installers, which is like a labor position, and you get solar electricians that are doing all the wiring and all the hookups. So there you go. So we had a project coming down, and hey, we got to find homes for these solar installers, right? The electrician's a little bit easier. They're electrician. The solar installers, it's a little harder. And then, we just talked to some construction managers on some of our power jobs and say, these folks have been with us for a year and a half. They know Kiewit inside and out. They know how to work safe. They know how to show up on time. They know how to do all these things. You can train them to be whatever trade you want. And the folks that wanted to take a transfer to another project have transferred. And now those folks, some of them are pipe fitters, some of them are iron workers, some of them work in our concrete crews. Because good basic skills are transferable to whatever you want to do, right?
No, like just get in, choose construction, get in.
The hardest thing is you got to show up every day.
Right.
You got to bring your own lunch, okay? We're not going to feed you lunch. You got to show up every day, bring your lunch, be early or on time, have the right attitude, work safe, and get through the day every day being a better, more productive employee than you were the day before. And then the opportunities will come to you after that.
Yeah, I do think that. I think that once you commit to that, and what you said early on, and you have fun. Because the industry can be fun.
Some days you're not going to have fun. It's the way it is. But if you're not having fun most of the time, you should really do something else, right?
You should do something about that.
Do something else, right?
Well, thanks so much for joining us. I had a great time talking to you.
Good chatting with you.
I know that we're going to see you guys all over the place this week.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.